For the PRO and CRO reflection assignment, I chose a patient who is currently in track, who had just been cleared by his doctor to start rehab for his hernia surgery. And so for this patient, I chose the rehab adherence measure for athletic training scale or questionnaire, I guess. And after doing that for him, based on the rehab that I have done with him over the past week or two, he scored a 49, which was actually pretty high. On the high end for this scale. He is really motivated. He shows up on time. He adheres with everything that we're telling him to do and goes through the proper steps and everything. The only thing that he really struggles with is he doesn't really communicate with me. If he doesn't have any problems, he kind of just comes in, does what we ask him to do, which is fine, but just making sure we're on the same page would be good for him. So for some interventions for this specific patient, I think I'm going to try to incorporate some goal setting so he can have a specific timeline on when he wants to be able to get back into track, because track season's been going on for preseason for the last few weeks and he's really missed out on that. So just to incorporate some goal setting for him so he has a timeline of when he wants to be back, and if there's a certain meet he wants to run in or a certain number of races that he wants to run in by the end of the season, I think that'd be very beneficial. And then just taking him through some positive self-talk type exercises, just to get those positive thoughts in his head, to know that he can kind of overcome this injury, and just taking the proper steps on getting him back to participating in track as soon as possible, and as physically and mentally and socially as possible. And so for the PRO, I chose the athlete fear avoidance questionnaire. It's a 10-question questionnaire, and just basically asks talks about how the athlete is doing. Some of the questions are: I will never be able to play as I did before my injury. I'm worried my role on the team will be changing. I'm worried that the other people will think that I don't perform at the same level. I'm not sure what my injury is. I'm not comfortable going back until I'm 100%. So just kind of going through those questions and seeing how he actually is feeling, since we're not getting that communication as much through his rehab. So just talking about how his role could change on the team and giving him some ideas and ways that his role on the team doesn't have to change, because he has been out for the last few weeks of preseason. Explaining to him what his injury actually is. I'm sure his doctor has done a good job of that, but just making sure that he understands what the background of it is, and figuring out if there's any specific questions he has on it. If he doesn't know if he's ready to play, we can take him through some goal setting exercises, and kind of at the end of his rehab, just to make sure that he is 100% comfortable with returning to play or returning to running. And if he's not ready to go back, then we can take some steps back and take him through some more positive self-talk or goal-setting imagery type exercises, just to make sure that he is 100% comfortable with returning, and we're not just returning him after his rehab is done. So making sure he's mentally, socially, physically, emotionally ready to return. So taking him through that PRO and implementing that, I think would be very beneficial. This is something that I would use in my clinical practice as a future athletic trainer, just because talking about all these psychosocial aspects that the athletes could be feeling or thinking, and they don't usually communicate those very well. So being able to give them this type of questionnaire can help me grasp what they're actually feeling, and how I can help them better throughout their rehab. So, yeah.